What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are opening the 4th Keyforge deck that we have opened on this channel. Now, there's 5 in total, and I'll show you some stats in a minute when we see what's inside it. So, Yeatman of Direverse. Ooh, what does Yeatman do? Let's have a gander, shall we? If I can ever get into it. Usually these have been quite easy to get into. There we go. We're in. Now, we got Dis, logos, and Mars here. Now, that's really interesting. Now, there's a graphic should be up on the screen right now. And they are all of my decks. And you'll see that 3 of my 5 have Mars, 3 of my 5 have logos, and 4 of my 5 have Dis. I haven't opened a single deck with Untamed, and Untamed is probably my favourite house from what I've seen. Although Dis is my other favourite. There's also 2 Shadows and 1 Brobnar. So, okay. A little bit weird, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like some Untamed, but you can't win them all. I live in hope of my bear deck. So, as always, I have just scanned the QR code to get this up there. So, I've got all the cards on screen, and let's have a gander. So, let's split it into 3 houses like we tend to do. Make things a little bit easier. And we can get rolling, shall we? So, we'll start off with Mars. And what we have here is Jammer Pack. Now, we get an Ember bonus when we play it. And it's an upgrade that makes your opponent's keys cost 2 more Ember. In every world, that's got to be good. The whole point of the game is forging keys. Making your opponent's keys more expensive must be good. Now, we do get biometrics backup. Destroyed, when you put this... You may put this creature into its owner's archives when it's destroyed. And it gains 1 Ember. Okay, that's alright. I don't mind that. Zigzix the Many. Now, I've had Zigzix the Many in a previous deck. I kind of like this. You may reveal a creature from your hand. If you do, archive it, and Zigzix the Many gets 3 +1 power counters. That's every time you fight or reap. So, if you're lucky here, you can have a couple turns of reaping and turn it into like a 9 power character. You kind of force your opponent to deal with it, or else he just smashes. And your opponent will, but you're forcing your opponent to deal with it. Now, we also have Zorg here. Zorg's got 7 power. 7 power is rather high. And before you fight, you stun the creature you're fighting and each of that creature's neighbours. I can't be the only one that thinks that's kind of fun. We have... Yazili Marauder? I don't know. But when you play it, you capture 1 Ember for each friendly ready Mars creature, and you get +1 power for each Ember on it. Now, we have... How many creatures do we have here? So we've actually got 5 other creatures here for Mars, so we can deal with this. We can have some fun with this. So we've got... Where is this? Vezima Think Drone. 3 power... 0 armor, and when you reap, you may archive a friendly creature or artifact from play. Get it in that archive ready to use it later. Uxlix the Zookeeper. 2 power, 0 armor, the stats are bad. But you reap, you put an enemy creature when you reap into your archives, and if it leaves your archives, it goes to your opponent's hand. Cool. Get rid of one of your opponent's creatures. That sounds good. Only temporarily, but that's fine. Now, Ulig Megamouth, I am a huge fan of. When you fight or reap, you get to use a friendly non-Mars creature. It's phenomenal, I love it. You get Mars for the turn, but you get to use a non-Mars creature. I adore this. Soft Landing is another one I'm a big fan of, because when you play it, the next creature or artifact you play this turn enters play ready. So you can play it and then immediately use something like Ulig Megamouth. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. And a couple of actions to finish off. We've got Mothership support. It's got an Ember bonus. And for each friendly Mars creature, I deal 2 damage. Now, this is quite creature heavy. I've got 6 Mars creatures. I could be dealing a lot of damage with this while gaining an Ember. Now, one of the rares in this particular deck is Martian Hounds. When I play it, I choose a creature, and for each damaged creature, I give the chosen creature 2+1 power counters. That doesn't sound too bad. That doesn't sound too bad at all. And finally here, Ammonia Clouds. Bit of a risk-reward card. Deal 3 damage to each creature. Given that I've got a very creature-heavy deck, and given that 5 of my 6 Martians have 3 power or less, I'm not loving this card in this deck. Because it would destroy all but Zorg. I'm not saying there's never a time I wouldn't want to use it, but as soon as I get a couple of my Mars creatures down, fair to assume I'm not going to want to play it. Moving on into logos then, we start off with Mother. I like Mother. 5 power's alright, but it's got an ability that's always in use. When I'm drawing cards, I get an extra card. There's not much more to say, it's just 9. Nice. 9. Just nice. Dr. Escoterra here. A nice little common card. 4 power, no armor. And when I play it, I gain 1 Ember for each forge key my opponent has. Maybe late in the game that's going to be good, but yeah. Oh, we do not have a lot of We had 6 creatures for Mars. We do not have a lot of creatures for logos here. Spectral Tunneler, 1 Ember. Well, you have the Ember bonus. And action, choose a creature for the remainder of the turn. The creature is considered as a flank and gains Reap, draw a card. It's alright. And it's an artifact, so I can use it over and over. We have a rare artifact here. That being Crazy Killing Machine. Discard the top card of each player's deck. For each of those cards, destroy a creature or artifact of that card's house, if you can. If 2 cards are not destroyed, destroy Crazy Killing Machine. Nice. You could do some damage with that. Absolutely you could. And another artifact. It's an artifact-heavy thing. Chaos Portal, and it's a rare again. Choose a house, reveal the top card of your deck. If the top card of the deck is of that house, you can play it. That's cool. That's really cool. And look, you know you got 12 cards from each house. So you can play the odds there. You can count the cards in your discard pile quickly and in play and give yourself a good chance of being able to make that work. No guarantee, of course. Unless there's like 2 cards left and you know they're both Mars. Sloppy Lab Work. You get an Ember bonus. And when you play it, you archive and discard a card. Helps you rearrange your board a little bit. 3 copies of Phase Shift, but I'm down with it because Phase Shift is awesome. Phase Shift says you may play 1 non-logos card this turn. So that means there's essentially 3 turns every time I cycle through my deck where I get to play logos but play a different type. That's awesome. I really like Phase Shift. And having 3 of them in a deck is great. The ability, and once you play a few games, you get a kind of a sense. And one of the things that is great in this game is being able to use a creature of a different house than your active house. Every time you get that, you get a huge advantage. And then finishing off then, we got 1 library access for the remainder of the turn. Each time you play another card, draw a card. Cool. You could be drawing 4, 5, 6 cards a turn with that. We've got Lab Work. When you play it, you archive a card. Clearly, we're trying to build up our archives when playing this deck. And 1 copy of Fogify here. You get the Ember bonus. And your opponent cannot use creatures to fight on their next turn. Against some decks, not great. Against other decks, phenomenal. But I don't like the lack of creatures here, but I love the 3 copies of Phase Shift. I really like the 3 copies of Phase Shift here. And then once again, Dis. And look, this game is telling me to play Dis. I showed you, of the 5 decks I've opened, 4 of them have Dis in. You could say, This is getting ridiculous. Please don't unsubscribe. So, starting off with this, the Terror. I love the Terror. 5 power is above average, and if your opponent has no Ember, you gain 2 when you play it. You got to be careful, but if you play it at the right time, it's great. Now, Tentacus is another really good card here. Your opponent must play you an Ember to use an artifact. I know, right? It's going to either get you Ember, or your opponent's going to not use artifacts to stop you getting Ember, in which case you're still winning that. Stealer of Souls has 6 power, 0 armor. After an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Stealer of Souls, purge the creature and gain 1 Ember. That's nice. Purging means they don't come back. And I gain an Ember. Ooh. And 6 power is above average, so you should be getting a couple of creatures with this. We have Shula here. 5 power. If your opponent has 4 or more Ember, steal 1. That's not bad. So there are my characters for this. And then we've got an artifact, Life Word. You get an Ember bonus for playing it. You can use it whenever you want. It's got an Omni ability, so it doesn't have to be of the active house. Your opponent cannot play creatures on their next turn. So you get an Ember bonus when you play it, and then whenever you want, regardless of the active house, you can stop your opponent playing creatures for a turn. I'm down with that. Lash of Broken Dreams is an artifact, and this one's very annoying. Keys cost +3 Ember during your opponent's next turn. They can, if they don't have 9, they can't forge, and if they do have 9, they can still forge, but then it's going to be more difficult because they've lost 3 more Ember than they should have done. They're going to be struggling to forge next turn. Pandemonium, nice little action card. We've actually got 2 of these. Each undamaged creature captures 1 Ember from its opponent. And you do get the Ember bonus there as well, which is quite nice. We have a copy of Mind Barb here, which does give you an Ember when you play it. And then your opponent discards a random card from their hand. It's alright. It's not great, but the Ember bonus alone makes it fun. And bearing in mind, right, we got 4 cards here that give us an Ember bonus. Added to... How many did we have for Sanctum? Or for Logos? So we've got 4 more for Logos. And 1, 2, 3 for Mars. So that's 7, that's 11 cards of our 36 give us an Ember bonus. This deck seems to have silly high Ember bonus. That's almost 1 in 3 cards gives you an Ember bonus. That's pretty cool. I've not done the maths on this, but I don't think many of my decks have that, if any of them. Copy of Hysteria. Return each creature to its owner's hand. My wife used this against me in a game the other day when I had 7 creatures out. I was not a happy bunny. We have Hecatomb, sorry. It's a rare. And you destroy each disc creature. Each player gains 1 Ember for each creature they control that was destroyed in this way. Now, I've got 4 disc creatures. That could be kind of fun. And again, you get little combos going on here. So, there was a card here which I got kind of annoyed by, which could come in handy. So, Ammonia Cloud. You deal 3 damage to each creature. But if you've used Hecatomb here, and I know they're different houses, so you wouldn't necessarily be able to do it at the same turn, but Hecatomb here, that's not too bad. Oh, and it also has an Ember bonus, so actually I think it's bringing it up to 12, which is exactly 1 in 3 cards in my deck. And then Gateway to Disc, destroy each creature and gain 3 chains. Alright, I'm happy with this deck. It seems like there's a lot of Ember bonus in this deck. This is quite disruptive, as you might expect, but the Ember bonus alone there is pretty gosh darn nice. The Sanctum cards we've got here do love the archiving, but the fact that we've got 3 phase shift here really does make me incredibly happy. And all of the Martian creatures we've got, there's many, many, many Martian creatures here, And that's really going to give us a nice little Martian army going on. Not to mention that Jammer Pack I'm a huge fan of, because my opponent has to cost more. And if we want to go deeper into the combos, how about having Jammer Pack on a creature, so that my opponent's keys cost 2 more to forge, and then popping down a... wait for it. Lash of Broken Dreams, so that essentially my opponent's having to pay 11 to forge a key. I can work with this deck, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a little bit excited to try it. As always, I am going to be doing a lovely little video where I play with all of these cards and all of that. So do please make sure you go and check that out. I've already scanned the QR code, so I don't really mind showing it. It's already been scanned. I've registered it. Yay! I will have to be really careful to register before I upload the videos for fairly obvious reasons. So yeah, I'm quite liking Yeatman the Diverse. We'll have to wait and see. It's a little bit sad, of course, that it's quite a similar deck already to She Who Reprehensively Bows to Fire, in that it's got the same houses and a fair few overlapping cards, but you can't win them all. So, usual deal, ladies and gentlemen. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. I would be delighted. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio. No! Wossy Plays! Although do check out PTCG Radio, I think it's a good channel.